So in this video today, we're going to go over what you need to know for the 12-1, 12-3 quiz. So first of all, in the instructions for this, it says graph the following equations and find all the characteristics. So first we want to talk about how this graph opens. Well, before we do that, let's just talk about the parent equation for this. This is A, absolute value of x minus h plus k. Remember, the A tells us if it's positive, it opens up. If it's negative, it opens down. The h and k tell us the vertex. A also tells us the slope. So because A is positive here, we know that it's going to open up, okay? And then the slope is going to be A, so that's 1/2. And our vertex, remember, we're going to change the sign of whatever h is, so that's going to be -4, comma, -5. I'm going to go ahead and plot this now. So at -4, -5, there's my vertex, and I'm going to go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, going to go up 1 over 2 here, and they should be mirror images. Remember, there's a the graph is going to look the same on the right as it does on the left. Okay, so as we draw this, that's going to be the left side, or the right side, sorry, this is going to be the left side. So now if we talk about transformations, what does the 1/2 tell us? It tells us there's a vertical shrink by a factor of 1/2. Okay, then what does the 4, positive 4 tell us? It tells us it's moving 4 left, because it really is a -4 because it's minus 4. And then the 5 tells us it's moving 5 down. Now, if you used your slope to do this over and over again, then you might be able to find your intercepts without solving for them, but I'm going to show you how to solve for them. So when we put 0 for f of x or y, and then we solve for x. So we're doing 1/2 up x plus 4 minus 5, right? So we're going to add 5 to both sides. So that's going to be 5 equals 1/2. Absolute value of x plus 4. How do we get rid of that 1/2? We multiply both sides by 2. So that's going to give us 10 equals the absolute value of x plus 4. So now this is where you need to solve for both a positive 10 and a -10. So I'm going to put a -10 over here. And that's because the absolute value of -10 is positive 10. So we're going to do it both ways, okay? So let me move this up here, so it's out of the way. So when I subtract 4 from both sides here, my x is going to be equal to 6. So this point is going to be 6, 0. So that's one of my intercepts. And then we're going to subtract 4 from here too. So this is going to be -14. That's x. So this is going to be -14, 0. Now we have another intercept, sorry. We have another intercept that we need to solve for. Let me make this a little clearer, y'all. It's the y-intercept, okay? And so to do that, we're going to put 0 in for x. So let me scroll down here a little bit. So this time we're going to put 0 in for 0 in for x and solve for y. So this one's going to be y is equal to 1/2, and we're putting 0 in here, plus 4, sorry, minus 5. So we got 1/2 of the absolute value of 4 minus 5. Well, obviously the absolute value of 4 is 4, so 1/2 of 4 is 2. So 2 minus 5, that's equal to -3. So this is this point right here, right? So this is going to be 0, -3. So that's our other intercept. So there's going to be 3 of these, okay? This one right here, this one right here, and this one right here. There's always going to be 3, okay? So now let's go back to our graph. So when I get on my graph over here and move to -4, that's where the graph transitions, right, at -4. So is the graph rising or falling? It's falling, so it's an interval of decrease. So it's going from -infinity out here to this 4 right here, right? Okay, so it's decreasing from -infinity to 4, and where is it increasing from? So let's look at that. So we get on the graph here, and it's increasing from where? 4 on to infinity, right? Because this is infinity out here. Remember, you're talking about x values when you're talking about intervals of increase and decrease. All right, let's go to our next screen. So on this one, yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. We are going to, let me go ahead and erase that. Again, do the same thing. We're going to talk about all the characteristics, and we're going to graph it. So is this graph opening up or down? This one's opening down. Why? Because A is negative. What's the slope? It's going to be a -3. The vertex, this time, because the equation is minus h plus k, this is actually just going to be 1, 2. So let's go ahead and graph that again, 1, 2, right there. This one's going to open down, so I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 over, okay? And same way here, mirror image, remember? So let me erase that so it's not so confusing. So down 3 over 1, down 3 over 1. I could do it again, down 3 over 1 there, down 3 over 1 here. So that might help me draw my graph a little better. I'm not doing the best job at straight lines anyway. Okay, so now you can see that the graph is opening down, right? And remember, if you're doing the slope, if it's a whole number, just put it over 1, okay? Our transformations. The negative tells us it's a reflection over the x-axis. The 3 tells us it's a vertical stretch by a factor of 3. And then the 1 tells us it's 1 right. And the 2 tells us it's 2 up. Okay? So now our intercepts, again, we're going to solve for these. Now, it looks like you could maybe tell what they are, but we're going to go ahead and solve for them anyway. Again, remember, we're going to put 0 in here. We're going to say -3, absolute value of x minus 1 plus 2. I'm going to subtract the 2 from both sides. So that leaves us with this. Then we're going to divide both sides by -3. So that's going to be 2/3 equals x minus 1. And then -2/3 equals x minus 1. Because remember, when we get that absolute value, we're going to do both positive and negative. So this means I'm going to add 1 to both sides. So that's 2/3 plus 3 over 3, because that's 1, right? So that's equal to 5/3. So that's going to be my first point, 5/3, 0. Okay. Here again, -2/3 plus 3 over 3, that's going to equal 1/3. And that's my other point right there. Okay. Now we're going to do the y-intercept. So we're going to put y equals -3. We're putting 0 in for x, 0 minus 1 plus 2. So that's going to be equal to -3 times the absolute value of -1 plus 2. That's going to be -3 times 1 plus 2. So that's -3 plus 2. That's -1. So this one's going to be 0, -1, which is about what it looked like it was here, right? And this one looked like it was about 1/2, and this one did look like it was about, 1 2/3, right? Okay. So now we're going to talk about our intervals of increase and decrease. So we're going to jump on our graph over here and move this direction. And where is it transitioning? At 1, right? So is this graph increasing or decreasing from infinity, negative infinity over here? It's increasing from negative infinity to 1. And then from 1 on to infinity here, what's happening to it? Exactly, it's decreasing. So we're going to put infinity here, okay? So it says, this one says evaluate the piecewise function, okay? So when we do this, we're going to put these values in to whichever equation it applies to. So the first one, -4 is less than 0, right? So we're going to put it in our first equation. So that's going to be -4 squared plus 4. That's going to be equal to minus the 16, because the -4 squared is a positive 16 plus 4. So this one's going to be equal to -12. Now our second equation, or our second number, 1, is between 0 and 4. So on that one, we're going to put in this one, 2 times 1 plus 3. So that's 2 plus 3. So that's 5, okay? And then our last one is 4. So in this one, we could put it in either one of these, but we need to know which one. We need to put it in this one, right? Because it says less than equal to. So we're going to do 2 times 4 plus 3. So that's equal to 8 plus 3, and that's 11. So you have to figure out which equation these numbers go in, okay? Based on the if statement that's on the right. All right, so the last one here, or the one number 4, sorry. again, we're going to figure out where these numbers go. So the first one is -4, and that goes in the first equation because it says x is less than or equal to -4. Not the middle one because it just says less than, okay? So here again, we're going to put -4 in the equation. -1/2 times -4 minus 1. A negative times a negative is positive. So half of 4 is 2. So that's going to be 2 minus 1, which is equal to 1. Then for the next one, we're going to put, and that would be, and by the way, when we're writing these answers, this is f of -4, right? This one is going to be equals f of 1, and this one's going to be equal to f of 4. Sorry, I did that. F of 4. I don't need that first parenthesis, but you guys get it. So over here, this one was going to be equal to f of -4. Then the next one over here, 0. 0 is between -4 and 2, so that's just -3, right? So that's equal to f of 0. And then our last one is x equal to 3. And 3 is greater than 2, so we're going to say 3 squared minus 3, that's 9 minus 3, so that's 6, and that's equal to f of 3. Okay, this is write the piecewise function of the graph. Okay, so when we do this one, we're going to, first thing I'm going to do is find this transition point right here. So I know that my if statement is going to be if x is less than -4 and if x is greater than equal to -4. Then I just have to find the equation. So let's see if we can figure out the slope over here. So I'm going to go up 1 over 1, 2. So that's a -1/2 because this graph is falling from left to right. So it's -1/2 x. And if we use this if we use our slope to find the y-intercept, then we can just write it. So again, we're going to go down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2. So this is, let's see, 1, 1, 2, yep. So that's -4. And then the one on the right is a little bit easier because it's going to be a slope of 1/2, again, up 1 over 2. And then its y-intercept is just 0. So I can just say plus 0, but I don't have to put plus 0. So it's really just 1/2 x, okay? And this is our piecewise statement, okay? And then the next one, this one also says write the piecewise function. So here, this time our transition point is 1. So we're going to say if x is less than 1 and if x is greater than equal to 1, okay? So again, this time, if we count this one, we're going to pick a point on the graph. We could pick that one right there. And we count 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, so the slope there is 3. So that's 3x, right? And this is intersecting it too. So this one was pretty easy. Now the one on the right is a little more difficult. We know it's going to be a negative slope, right? Because it's falling from left to right. So it's going to be -3x. And again, we could go up 1, 2, 3 over 1, and we can then see where the intercept is. So that's +8. So this is our statement for this one. Okay. Number 7 says evaluate the piecewise function for these values. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to find these values in the graph. So when h of -3, so that's -3 right here. So we're going to go up and see where it intersects the graph, and it's at 1. So h of -3 equals 1. Then we're going to do the 1. So h of -1, -1's there. So again, we're going to go up and it intercepts here and here, but which one we're going to choose is the one with the solid dot. So h of -1 is also equal to 1. Then we are going to look at the next one. So h of 3. So h of 3, so that's here. So once again, we have a solid dot and an open dot. So we're going to choose for the solid dot, which was at 2. And then our last one is h of 5. So 5 is here. So we go up. Looks to me like it's 4.5, y'all. So that's going to be 4.5. And there won't be any like that on the test, or I mean the quiz. So, or the test. There'll be very clear points. So. All right, so the last one, number 8, I should say, is the piecewise, writing the piecewise function. So here again, I'm going to write the if statements first. So for this one over here, it's going to be if x is less than -4, and that's because it's an open dot. So then here again, we want to find the slope. So we're going to go 1, 2 over and 1 down. This is falling, I'm sorry, rising from left to right. So we went left and down. So that's going to be a negative over negative. So this is going to be 1/2 x. Now what we can do, again, is we can go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, and that's where we can see where it intersects. So this is going to be plus 3. Then we can do our next one. And again, this one is going to transition, again, from here to here. So this is going to be x's. Let's actually do the number first, okay? So on this one, we're going to do our number, which is going to be -4. It's going to be greater than or equal to solid dot x, and then it's going to be less than or equal to 2. Again, solid dot on both ends of these. See the dots here, solid, solid, so that's why it's less than or equal to. So this is going to be an x squared, right? So what we want to know is it moving left or right? If it doesn't move left or right, then we're not going to use the equation where it's x minus h squared. This just moved down 3, so it's just going to be x squared minus 3 if that statement, okay? Then our last one is green, and again, we're starting here, so this is going to be x is greater than 2, and it's an open dot, that's why it's just greater than. And then we're just looking at the value here, so this is just going to be 4. Y equals 4, okay? So when we write our piecewise statement, that's what it's going to look like, okay? All right, our final question says graph the step function. So this one is at -5, so -5 is down here between 6 and 10. So this is 6 here with a solid dot because it's less than or equal to, or I'm sorry, greater than or equal to, and this one is 10 and it's an open dot because it's less than. And then we got 1. So 1 is up here, and that's going to be between -4, solid dot again, because it's greater than or equal to, and then 6 is going to be an open dot. So we're going to connect those two. And then our last one is 8, and it's going to be 8 when it's between -8, and that's an open dot here, and -4, another open dot. And so again, looking at these dots that are on top of each other at -4 and at 6, notice that there's an open and a closed. There could be 2 opens, but there cannot be 2 closed.